Today I'm gonna see if I can make my old Jaguar run a little bit better with Seafoam. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda out here with my 40-plus-year-old Jaguar, and she runs, but she doesn't run great sometimes, and particularly when you first start her up, she kind of hesitates. You got to kind of crank her over. She runs a little rich, kind of chokes a little bit. Sometimes you got to give her a little gas, and so I thought maybe I could clean up that engine with this. This is Top Engine Cleaner and Lube, oh yeah, by Seafoam. Kind of an interesting name, but this is that little snake straw there because you spray this into the intake manifold while the engine's running. So I have read the directions here and I am going to follow them to a T because I want to give this a fighting chance here. And if it does nothing, it does nothing, but I guess I've seen some pretty good results. And if it can remove some carbon, maybe lube up the necessary pieces in the engine and make it run a little better, maybe start up a little smoother, you know, get me on the road a little faster, then it definitely could be worth buying just a can of this because it's not that expensive. So the first thing it says to do is run the engine and bring it up to temperature. So I'm just going to run it for a few minutes here and get it a little warm, and then we will start on the next part. So the engine is cold, but let's fire her up here. Okay, let's see, it's firing up, running a little rough, kind of hesitating and bouncing a little bit here. So I'm just going to let her run for a couple minutes, get her up to temp, and then we'll continue on. I feel like I even hear a little knocking, and throttle body's over there. All right, engine is warmed up. I'm over on this side. We've got the air filter, mass airflow sensor, and then the tube to the throttle body right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up this clamp right here, pull that off, and then put this Seafoam straw with the little bendy elbow there so that it curls and is pointing towards that throttle body. And then I'm going to put the boot back on there, the hose back on there, and then fire it back up and then spray that into the top of the engine. All right, so I've got this pulled away here, kind of wants to fall back in there. I will say that that butterfly valve there doesn't look that bad. I have definitely seen worse. So I'm going to go ahead and snake in the hose there and get this reassembled to clean it up. Now it's going to help if you have someone to help you do this, but since I don't have a friend here, I'm actually going to spray with one hand and then control the throttle body to keep the revs up with the other hand. So fortunately, I'm not going to get you a lot of footage of this, but it's just the way it's going to be. All right, just got done. Takes about 5 or 6 minutes to kind of run the whole can through there. Depends how strong your finger is to hold down the nozzle, but I will say there was a decent amount of white smoke coming out of the exhaust, and it's a nice windy day today, so luckily it wasn't hanging around me, but it didn't smell great, and I think that's actually a good sign. Hopefully that is carbon burning off or getting exhausted. Now, it says to basically leave the engine here for 10 minutes to heat soak and then drive it around for at least 10 minutes in a spirited fashion. So the clock started. I'm going to wait 10 minutes and then put everything back together and then go out for a drive. All right, I want to show you something else here that I think is hopefully a good sign, is that when I started the car up last time, it's not a good sign for my driveway here, but out of the exhaust, it spit this stuff here when I fired it up out of both exhausts. So that, while ugly, I don't know. I feel like it's better out of the car than it is in, but that looks like ash and carbon to me. So I don't know if it's coming out of the cylinders, but if anything, the Seafoam is breaking it up somewhere inside the exhaust or whatnot. So that's actually a pretty good sign. I am gonna have to clean that up, but I think that is the first time that has ever happened as far as I can tell. So, all right, 10 minutes have elapsed. Spirited drive is now required to finish up the treatment. So let's go for a ride. All right, I am back from my spirited driving, and spirited driving in a 70s XJ6 is kind of like pushing your 3-cylinder smart car to the max. I mean, putting your foot into the accelerator is kind of underwhelming. This car does not get up and go, but at least it's under some load, pushing stuff out. Now, I will say, actually, when I was driving this, I was a little worried because it wasn't actually running that well. I would say that it was actually idling pretty rough. Once you got it up to speed, it seemed to be running okay, but especially when I got to stoplights or stop signs, man, the car was really kind of thumping. And I was like, oh, actually, did I screw something up, block up an injector or something like that? But after some time, actually, I drove it for about 10 minutes, parked, ran some errands, drove it again, ran some more errands. So I've been out driving for 25, 30 minutes in total. And I will say now it seems to be much better. So driving seems to be fine. And also the idling, while I wouldn't call it like Lexus-like quiet, it is probably only 10% 100% as rough as it was at the very beginning. So it was kind of shaking quite a bit at idle that was worrying me, and now it's kind of just a little bit of a vibration at idle, which, to be honest, in a car of this age is what I would expect. So far it seems great. The white smoke that I was getting when I was running the Seafoam through the system is not there. It seems to be exhausting kind of normally, and I had the windows down. I didn't smell anything, so I think that is a success. So I won't say that I'm getting great mileage or, better performance or anything like that, but I will say that it seems to be running pretty smoothly, and I feel better that if there was carbon in the cylinders or on the valves or something like that, that it did remove. That is just helping extend the life of this a very old car already. So if you want to use Seafoam on your car, hopefully you'll have some good results like me. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda. Out.